Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah, tell me about it, brother. Can you hear me all right?
Can hear you just fine, bro.
Excellent.
How do you fuck up this bad?
I will say to begin things off, to start things off, John F. Trent over at That Park Place is doing God's work by bringing us details about this whole scenario with Activision and Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I love the title of the show that you've given us for today, Black
Yeah.
Ops 6 Gender Warfare. Very fitting. Um,
Oh
couldn't have chosen
man.
better, brother. Wordplay is not only the realm of those of us who are genre wonks, but clearly Brother Cortex has quite the aptitude for it. Don't underestimate the fellow. Uh, Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome
Alyssa
to
Mercante's
Culling.
favorite.
Yup. Uh, yeah. Um, Today, Brother Cortex brings us a conversation. I am quite pleased that he chose this as our primary start off topic. I am your co host, Byronofsidius, Minister of Bite Me, because it's exactly what these people need to be told is they can bite all of our collective asses.
hmm This is shameful, even for Activision. Literally taking Call of Duty, one of the greatest titles for multiplayer gaming, and just shitting all over it.
Now, for those of you who are not familiar with what we're referring to, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has been released, and Activision's put out a great deal of information regarding one of the operators in the game. Operators are the protagonists of this series. And one of the newest operators, one of the newest characters to be featured, is a character by the name of Volta Rossi, who is being utilized as a crowbar into the entire conversation of woke politics and identity politics because this operator has been, we've been informed, is non-binary in
hmm
a shooting game centered in 1991, before this shit was even part of the conversation.
Yep.
Make it make sense.
Yep. At a time where literally all of that was completely like, what am I trying to say here? The whole subject was just shunned, absolutely shunned.
It wasn't part of the conversation. And for a company that wants to try and market itself on the time, place, and historical accuracy of its games, of its storylines, boy howdy, they're not exactly being historically accurate now, are they? Part
Well,
of what I
hold
think
on.
is
To be fair, they weren't exactly historically accurate with Call of Duty Vanguard either.
no, no. What I'm saying is, I find it irritating that this company wants to try and market itself as having, deeply enriching and historically accurate this, that, and the other. But
hmm
when you ask them, well, wait a minute, would this element that you're injecting be historically accurate? They say, well, it's a work of fiction. Which is it? Are you
hmm
trying to be historically accurate, or are you trying to give us a unique fictional experience? You can't have it both ways. You can couch it in history. Sure, there's historical fiction that is a subgenre. Usually it's science fiction or fantasy based. Harry Turtledove wouldn't have had a career as an author if historical fiction was not a subgenre. I refer you to his novel Guns of the South. Fantastic lead, perfectly executed. And the concept was, for its time, highly rare, or if not absolutely unique, but it opens us to a world of what if scenarios, which has been a thing in fiction for a very long time. However, if you're going to try and market and sell your product based on historical accuracy, and then you throw this kind of wrench into the works, go fuck yourself.
Right. Scuba says this was many of the conversations I had with my father went before he passed. Right. Well, I mean, I want to iterate something before we go any further. We're not
Sure.
here attacking anybody for, their life choices or any of that. This has nothing to do with that. This specifically has to do with a game trying to inject gender ideologies where they don't belong.
Well, I actually, for one, am going to go ahead and be personally offensive to the idiots who are writing this material at
Oh,
Activision Blizzard.
absolutely.
What the
I'm
fuck are you
not
thinking?
saying that.
You
I'm
read,
saying to people that are watching our material right now, we're
right,
not specifically attacking people who are, whatever, non-binary and all that. Our whole
right.
point
Look,
is the writing in this is very shitty.
yeah. And look, if you are a member of this audience and you do happen to be a member of the pronoun police force, go ahead and hold your perspective. I'm going to call you he or she. If you're going to sit there and try to demand that I change how I speak,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you Z or Zim to go ahead and fuck off. I don't want you in the audience. Period.
Hmm.
Brother Cortex, by all means, yell at me for saying this, but I no
No, no,
longer
no, no,
give a
no, no,
shit.
no. That's not my point. I'm
Sorry,
mad at the fact of the
I'm a
radical
little reactive.
garbage that is being injected into the game. Like, we want to play a video game, like,
Right. Um, what's lovely too is that from the article that John F. Trent wrote up for that Park Place, he clarified that the backstory of this character, Volta Rossi. By the way, why would you name your character something like Volta? It's such an easy
Volta
dunk. We can
Rossi.
call it Revolta Rossi because it's such an easy bit of wordplay. Thank you very much, Activision. You fucking retards. Um,
Yeah, I'm not
is
buying the game. I've already told multiple
no
people I'm not getting this garbage. There's other reasons
Rossi.
why I'm not getting it, but this is one of them.
Rossi apparently stems from some aristocratic blue blood family, which, hey, at least that much makes sense. When you come from money, when you come from aristocracy, you have no real world issues to contend with. You have no other genuine problems in your life that would make you think, oh, am I going to be able to afford food today? When you barely are scraping by in a survival situation, you don't really give a shit about your pronouns or what kind of genitalia you've got hanging between your legs. That
Or
doesn't enter
going
the
into a war
equation.
zone.
Right. This is exactly what you were trying to bang into my head about the whole Fallout series, and I was not listening with fully open ears. And I apologize for that, brother, because I was trying to give the benefit of the doubt for storytelling and narrative purposes. But no, this is a clear cut example of
Well, hold
you
on.
people
Let
are
me hold the
trying.
moment just for a second. Here's
Sure.
why I said what I said. Is because we're in a world where the world is, I wouldn't say it's not populated, but it's desolate at very most.
Right.
Resources are scarce. Survival is number one priority. Why would anybody in that world that has been built, the world building of Fallout, why would they care about changing their identity of gender? What part
Right.
of that matters?
Right. And
Why
I
is
had
that
not
the
been
first
giving
thought in your head before survival?
Right. And I had not been giving that enough credence or weight in my consideration of perspective.
Hmm.
But the more and more of this shit that's being fed to me through my news feeds, the more I'm realizing I probably should have listened a little bit harder to Brother Cortex on this one because he has a solid point. I had acknowledged your point, but I had not given it the credit it was due, and I
Well,
apologize for that.
Wasteland of Fallout doesn't really give you the privilege of a society where that would matter.
Right. And in the case of Black Ops 6, you're dealing with a you're dealing with somebody who is actively going into combat scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
What does their pronoun or gender identity matter? It doesn't.
Mm-mm.
It shouldn't enter into the equation. The only equipment you've got, I want to know about, is if you've got enough ammunition. Okay? I
And
don't care about your
grenades
biological equipment.
and
Right,
armor.
flashbangs. Right, like, are we going into a CQC scenario? Are we in an open field scenario? What exactly is the layout of the enemy
Yep. Bring out your
combatants?
knife.
Yeah. So, beyond the obvious gender nonsense at the forefront with this character, what else? Because you mentioned it before we got on the call, and
Mm-hmm.
I think this is something that I'm not as familiar with, as I'm not a veteran of first person shooters. I'm going to mute my microphone and completely leave this.
Give me 1 second here. I gotta
Sure.
bring this up.
There's an
Apparently, the
audio.
game is
Audio.
$70, right?
Okay.
But apparently, there is a. From what I heard, anyway, there was a subscription for the game after the
Yep.
retail price.
Yep. I have confirmed this, so this is not just a suspicion on your part.
Hang on 1 second.
You're
I
fine.
thought I just heard something. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I think Lily
Lily
got
has the
something.
zoomies.
Yep.
Oh, okay. The kitty is good because the kitty brings us something to not growl about. Scuba Sam, thank you for being here on the show. And yeah, you mentioned that at one time in the military service, it had been dubbed or deemed shameful to be openly homosexual. There was a policy for a very long time called "Don't Ask, Don't Tell." One when this game is purportedly set, that policy would very much have been in place. Now, some people are going to try and do an end run around this by pointing out that the operators in Black Ops 6 are actually CIA agents. They are not
I'm
DoD
back.
personnel. But I would counter with it's still part of the culture. Okay? This would not have been a part of the norm. It's not
No.
something that you would have expected to come across.
Nope. I do believe that the Gulf War era, if I'm not mistaken, my dad was in the
Yes.
Gulf War.
Yep. 1991 was the first Persian Gulf War in Iraq. It was what Bill Hicks referred to as a spectacle of fireworks show because it began with, well, we have begun combat operations, but we have yet to face the elite Republican Guard. And then after months of continuous carpet bombing and not one reaction whatever from Saddam's forces, they became simply the Republican Guard, not nearly as elite as we would have liked to have made you think. And then after more months of continuous carpet bombing and no response whatsoever, they went from the elite Republican Guard to the Republican Guard to the Republicans are lying about there being guards out there. We hope you enjoyed your fireworks show.
So, from what I'm hearing, or you confirmed,
Yes, indeed.
there was a subscription to the game after purchasing it at the retail price of $70. Meaning you have to pay for a subscription to play the game online.
Yep, it's part of the whole season battle pass system. This is the price point has been shifted and adjusted. It's going to be $14.99 per month in order to obtain access to not the multiplayer mode, but to access certain perks in the multiplayer environment.
So, like what? Like cosmetics or something?
It's going to grant you first choice if you are waiting for a server. So if you're waiting to get into a game and you pay for this $15 a month $15 a month access pass, you get
Okay,
first
so
dibs.
Yeah, it's just like the battle pass for the other Call of Duties. Okay, that's not a
No,
big deal too much,
no.
but
However, there is an additional $5 add-on perk pack. The perk pack gives operators additional firepower to their weapons,
wait, what?
regardless of weapon. Yes, you will do additional damage regardless of the weapon you have equipped.
Oh my
And
god.
there is an added element of enhanced environmental audio reception.
That I
Now,
do know about.
this is something you had mentioned that,
Uh-huh.
holy shit, I was not aware of this because I don't play a lot of first person shooters. But again, I don't know exactly how this works, so I need you to
From
explain
what
it to
I'm
me.
hearing, it's $20 for that. It's an additional
Oh,
$20.
yeah. So it's not $20 all total. That's in and of itself a perk pack.
That's
Jeez,
$20 for that, but it says for the audio itself.
Jesus. Now, what exactly does that grant the players?
So better audio would mean you get better positional audio as opposed to the average Joe who did not purchase the, $20 pack for the immersive audio. So you have a very distinct advantage of positional audio over everybody else. So let's say, okay, you got guy A and guy B. Guy A is listening with the regular standard audio the game shipped with, which is like flat. Like, it's just flat audio. It's not quite precise as the immersive audio. Meaning
Okay.
the immersive audio is like directional. Like, let's say you have a guy shooting from the west end, you have another guy from the east end. Well, guy A, who has a standard audio on the east end, is going to hear shooting from guy B from the west end, but not know where that shooting's coming from and have
Okay,
him
so it's
guessing.
almost like there's a generic kind of area of effect of you hear a gunshot.
Yeah,
It's
versus
somewhere
like guy
in
B
the area.
having the immersive audio and be like, oh, well, he's over here. Because just by turning his head, having better
So
audio.
okay, so like if they are to your left flank with the standard audio, you hear a gunshot, you'll hear it in both
I'm
headphone.
sure it'll vary,
Uh,
but like, yeah, pretty much.
Whereas person B with the enhanced audio will only hear it in the left channel,
Yeah, and
so they'll
know that
know
he's
which
coming
direction
from
to
that
turn.
one. Yeah, yeah.
Cocksucker! Why would you charge additional to give
$20
people that
for
advantage?
that too.
Look, I do not play a lot of first person shooters at all. But even I can tell you that is a massive advantage for people who are veterans of these kinds of games. If they can tell where you're shooting at them from, they can pinpoint and
Yeah.
deploy their comrades at your ass in an instant.
Okay, so hold on. Let me see here. It says universal profile and personalized profile. So it says, let's see here. Choose your path, mission immersion. Available to all players for free, universal profile is your entry vector to a deeper level of spatial awareness and that accurate 3D sound fine tuned to the unique sound world of Call of Duty. Every explosion and footstep are perfectly balanced so you can hear every detail of the battlefield with precision. So it's turn on enhanced headphone mode in the sound settings of
Right.
Black Ops 6. Oh my
So
god, bro.
it's basically a group of settings
Wait a
that
minute. You can buy this
they
shit
will
on Steam? Hold up.
they'll automatically keep that toggled off unless you pay for this monthly access to these perks.
No, I think that's like a one-time buy right there for the $20.
Okay. One-time purchase. I still don't like it.
No, still
You're already
shitty.
charging people 70 goddamn dollars for what effectively
70 or
amounts.
100. It's 70 for the regular Black Ops. It's 100 for Vault Edition.
I mean, at this point, it's almost Call of Duty is like FIFA. You get a new
Yep.
edition almost every goddamn year, and you don't get many changes. So why are you charging this full price for something that people they just had a year before?
Yeah. I'm trying to see where you can buy that audio in the Steam store.
I have to wonder if because of the backlash they've already gotten, if they've taken it down or they're reconsidering it.
It's mostly positive right now on Steam.
I
Surprisingly.
mean, I
Yeah, I'm not
have
seeing it on Steam.
I have no influence over the gaming scene. I have very little presence, generally speaking. But I want to put forth this suggestion.
Bro, these reviews don't look right.
I want to put forth this suggestion to all gamers, generally speaking, who are not members of the nose ring mafia of the
Nose
Rainbow
Ring
Brigade.
Mafia.
All right, not my phrase, not originally my phrase. I would refer you to Smash
Funny though.
JT. It's great, isn't it? Um, he's even got a shirt on his merch store. It's fucking wonderful. I am thinking about getting one. Um, but to these people, this message is not for you because you either don't have money to buy games anyway because you're too busy working at Star Schmucks 8 total hours a week because you're a barista and your mommy and daddy pay for your fucking apartment anyhow. Get fucked. This is for the average regular people who play video games and are enthusiasts of the hobby and have been for any length of time. Stop buying these games made by people who hate your guts. Stop pre-ordering. I don't give a shit what kind of extras or perks you can get access to by pre-ordering a game.
Yeah,
Hold
dude.
the line. Do
Something
not
about these
pre-order.
reviews are not right.
How do you mean?
There would be a lot more reviews than what I'm looking at.
I guarantee you they've been yeeting negative reviews more than likely.
There's 656 positive reviews and 233. I don't believe that.
Something's not right
Something's
there.
fishy about that.
Listen, folks, save your money. Hold your money. Wait until people who you trust, who have the disposable income to purchase, play, and review these games, can give you an honest assessment of whether or not it's worth the amount of money they're charging for it. I'll give you a prime example. There's a game that its creator has been getting a metric shit ton of growling, and it's the game Tales of Kenzera Zao. This is a game made in conjunction with Sweet Baby Inc. It's a game made by a fellow who, from everything I've heard from his own mouth in his interviews and discussions about his project, is a race hustler and grifter. But I will say this about the game: it looks like a pretty fun, enjoyable kind of cartoonish Metroidvania in the vein of things like Ori and the Will of the Wisps and uh, Bloodstained Ritual of the Moon. That kind of 2D side scrolling, broad, expanded map adventure kind of semi action RPG. The kind of game that would actually be up my alley. Something in the vein of Symphony of the Night. I really love those games. I am planning on finally biting the bullet and getting a digital copy of Guacamelee probably next month. I've seen so many trailers, gameplay footage for that game. I want to try it. I loved Blasphemous. I loved Bloodstained. Both I have both Ori games. I haven't finished the first one yet. I'm hoping that I can in the next couple of months because I only get to play it like maybe an hour a week. So uh, that's currently the game I plan on finishing up pretty soon here. But Kanzera Zao looks like that kind of game, which I love the gameplay loop of those titles. And oftentimes, the narrative in the storyline and characters in those games are not usually beautifully done or beautifully written. They're generally kind of hokey or corny, especially Bloodstained. My God. But Miriam's character is 3 dimensional as a piece of paper. All right. That's all I can say. Wonderfully animated. The gameplay loop is highly addictive. The the tapering of rewards as you or the pace of getting rewards as you play throughout keeps you engaged and wanting to come back for more. I'd be willing to play that game, this Kanzera Zao, if the creator had not come out before the game even released and said that yes, he made the game in conjunction with Sweet Baby Inc. So that's a automatic non-starter for me. I'm sorry, you're disqualified. You are the weakest link. Have a good day. Take your cash and prizes. Oh wait, you didn't get any because you didn't sell any copies of the fucking game. So take your empty hands and go cry boo-hoo. Whoever gives a fuck to listen to you. So that's problem number one. Problem number two was he came right out ahead of time before the game even released and said, if you don't buy this game, it's because you're a racist.
Oof.
When has that ever worked? Ever?
Yeah.
Like, dude, if you had just
I don't
showed
know
me
if this is true or not anymore about the audio
I'm,
because
I'm willing to bet they got backlash
they had to.
thanks to John F. Trent over at that Park Place. Go to that website, bookmark it, read it. They're doing great work over there. I'm
Yeah.
willing to bet they got so much flack for it. They're like, we can't do this. Because we're
did you ever hear about the what was it? They were wanting to charge for reloads for the guns. So
No, I
every
hadn't heard
mag
that.
would yeah. Apparently you had to like pay for your ammo for the game. It's fucking stupid. It was a thing for a little bit, like a big discussion about buying your own ammo in the game with real money. Charging
Here's
each
how
magazine.
here's how I imagine that conversation went. Some guy in the monetization team, because a lot of these game companies, they have people whose entire job is to try and figure out how best to bleed consumers for more money. Said, hey, I've got an idea. Let's charge the players for their ammo in a make believe digital entertainment product. And
Yeah, it was an EA boss.
some guy in the marketing, some other guy above him,
John
in
Tiello, or however you pronounce it.
somebody,
Chief
somebody
executive.
above him, somebody above him probably said, "Okay, John,
That's how you kill your game.
that's one idea, but we'd like people to actually buy the game."
Mm-hmm.
So there's a window. I'd like you to open it and jump out. But, sir, we're on the 30th floor. I don't care. Jump. Now, if you want me to reduce the floor from which you need to jump, you just need to pay for each floor you want to go down.
Yeah, it was
How does
like
that
paper
sound,
bullets.
John boy?
Stupid. But the main concern, though, with Black Ops 6 is this non binary character that doesn't fit with the timeline.
No, it's immersion breaking.
Uh-huh.
Um,
It's
you
modern
want to
daying us, or
yes,
current daying us. As
current daying
what was his
the
name?
insertion.
Babyface. The guy that did the rant on Starfield.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
heels versus babyface.
Yep.
Um, yeah, fucking pronouns. Dude, with the Mass Effect board game, I imagine he went off on another tangent on that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Did you hear about that? Did you hear about that shit?
No.
Okay, so the folks at Mass Effect, or the folks responsible for Mass Effect, developed and put out a not a tabletop role playing game. It's somewhat. It's like a TTRPG light. It's a board game based on the Mass Effect intellectual property. And right on the character sheets that are included with the board game is a slot on your character sheet for pronouns. Now, a lot of people, understandably, kind of went, "What the fuck is this?" And I personally find it fascinating that you would bother to put that on a character sheet for the Mass Effect franchise, especially if the player character is going to be playing an Asari, because the Asari race do not have males. They are a strictly female race according to their own scientists, their own biologists, their own species history. The way they reproduce is by coming into physical contact with male members of another species or female members of another species. It does not matter. They don't take spermatozoa. They literally absorb genetic data from their partner and recombine it with their own genetic code through skin to skin contact.
Oh,
These
God.
creatures, it's specified in Mass Effect lore, they can engage in actual physical mating, in sexual congress, but that's not necessary for them to reproduce. However, in, I believe it was the second Mass Effect novel, they do require, or not require, the chances of conception are enhanced if they orgasm during physical sexual congress with their partner.
Sorry,
The
did you want to
Asari,
get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns!
fucking ass.
Oh, man.
I'd love him even more if he wasn't an Englishman. If he'd be an Irishman, it'd be great.
I still love him regardless. He spoke some
Mm.
facts that day, dude.
He's amazing. He really is. But no, it's a tangent I was going on. I'm sorry. I love
No,
Mass
you're
Effect.
good. I had to bring that up at least.
Fucking great.
Oh,
But
man.
from the very jump with Dr. Liara Tassani in the very first Mass Effect game, people were a little confused. Like, wait a minute, you can romance this character as a female shepherd, but she is herself a female. Is she a lesbian? No, it's clarified throughout the game and the lore that the Asari they're all female, technically. It's part of their genetic coding that they present as feminine. That all of the Asari peoples are feminine in humanoid presentation. That their reproduction cycle is very much different than a standard human's. So they can gather genetic data from Solarians, from Krogan, from oh god, I can't remember the name of Garrus's species. Why am I struggling with this? I haven't played a Mass Effect game in fucking forever. That's part of my problem. Shit, I gotta look that up because that's gonna Turians. Sorry, remember Turians. They can recombine genetic information from any of the other council species from the Citadel. It's not specified or really clarified if they can recombine genetic data from like the I think they're called not Valerians. Shit. There's a couple of other species that you can't play as in the Mass Effect games, but they're fairly
I'm not
prevalent.
familiar with Mass Effect as far as lore, the races, none of that. Something I have to do a playthrough of.
I love those games. Do yourself a favor, dude. If you're gonna get it, pick up the Legendary Edition.
I
so you
own
can get
all of them.
the DLC. Oh, dude, nice.
Yep.
I gotta go and replay those. I'll have to pick up a Legendary Edition so I can play. I never played all the DLC before. So yeah, so because the Asari are a thing, and because there are a couple of species where you really cannot tell based on just first views, like especially with the Krogan, you can't tell if they're male or female until they talk. So okay, maybe there's some kind of in-lore justification for having people specify that on a character sheet. Or you leave it up to the player to just define that in session. Maybe just a thought, just an idea. So people were grunting about it online. And the guy who developed the board game went on Twitter /X. These people need to have their Twitter accounts taken away from them, seriously. And he said, hey, if you're a Mass Effect fan or if you're a fan of this board game, can you do me a favor and go to the product's review page and leave a positive review? We need to counter these, and I am quoting him, fucking man babies who have a problem and melt down over seeing pronouns on a character sheet. Cocksucker, it's not a meltdown. It's finally having the last straw dropped on that particular camel's back who has decided to stand up and spit their throat in your face and say, enough! We've taken enough of your shit. Look, the Mass Effect lore has always been what they dub inclusive, but they never hammered you over the fucking face about it. It was just naturally part of the storytelling. It's just it comes across as okay, cool. Kind of like with
spitting in your face, just like this.
Vamos a preguntar a este vecino qué
You
cree
know,
usted
it's
que
a
está
goat.
pasando en Telde. ¿Qué es lo que está pasando en Telde?
Yeah.
¿Qué es lo que está pasando en Gran Canaria? Oiga, señor, estoy hablando de usted, no me dé la espalda, hombre. ¿Qué pasa en su corral?
Yeah.
¿Qué opina usted del gobierno de Zapatero? Igual que yo. ¿Qué opina usted del gobierno canario? ¿Y de los ayuntamientos de la isla? Le vamos a preguntar que si reciben alguna subvención del gobierno. ¿Reciben ustedes alguna subvención del gobierno?
Oh. Jeez.
Gamers are having. That is the reaction gamers are having is You want to fucking sit there and yell at me, at us, for so long, so hard? Fuck you. People have had enough of it.
Yep. Especially with Space Marine 2 when it came out. And the total revolt of, well, we want to be more inclusive. We want, trans rights flags on, Space Marine decoration and armor color schemes. The funny thing is like, even with Space Marine 2, with your armor configurations, you can color whatever you want. You're not limited to the chapter Legion colors that the game comes with.
Right. Give people the customization option and say, use your imagination. Have at it.
Do what you want, right?
That I
that
don't
would
care
defeat
about.
the whole argument right there.
Yes, it would. It absolutely would. And then we could sit back and say, okay, you want your representation, you want your inclusion, fine. We'll give everybody an equivalent chance. And guess what? Guaranteed, as soon as the Rainbow Warriors,
blast.
as soon as the Rainbow Warriors take the battlefield, all three of them, they're going to be faced with a horde of enemy soldiers who have painted, I don't know, U.S. flags all over their armor.
Well, it's funny you're bringing this up about like flags. Modern Warfare 2, the remake, when it came out, had no American flag in it or any other country flags, but it did have pride flags at the launch of the game.
Interesting.
It did.
A game about socio-political conflict between nation states has no national flags, but they'll throw
They came in
gender
afterward.
ideology. Gender warfare. Perfect name for this episode.
Yeah.
What the absolute fuck?
Yeah, I shook my head so hard when that game came out. I'm like, where are the American flags at?
Look, dude, I can't reasonably sit back and say it's fine, because it's not fine. This nonsense has invaded and infested every facet of entertainment and escapism that we have. It's become so pernicious that there's seemingly nowhere to run, nowhere to escape this horse shit. This is coming from the same group of people who, for decades, collectively said, well, we need to be heard.
22 different Pride calling cards and only about 5 or 6 regular ones. That is complete BS if you ask me. Good morning, gentlemen and ladies. RSX Squishy here, and for today's video, I'm going to be talking about how Activision wants to pander to the gay community when they actually don't really care about them. Do you guys like the video, by the way? Like, comment, subscribe. Really helps me out.
Well, I'm going to skip to the part where he shows off the flags, because I'm sure that's what he's going to do, or I guess not. But, well, I guess he's not doing that at all in the game, just gameplay. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But there was a selection of all pride flags and no national flags in the game until afterward.
It's a modern woke fair and Call of Duty gay ops. I'm sorry.
BlackOx 6, gender warfare.
This shit it's in television, it's in films. We know that from all the horse shit with Disney and other studios. It's for a long time it's been lurking and getting ever more present in the publishing industry.
Yep. So I'm about to show a picture of what the game started with when it came out. That's it. That is all the game came with. Well, there were these, and then there were some regular video game Call of Duty calling cards, but as far as national flags go, these were the only flags.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So they want you to fly your freak flag. That's fine. I'd say, can we have some? I don't know. Let's have a monastic order of the Knights Templar flag fly up there, huh? How about we get the flag of the Roman Catholic Church flying in these games? What would you say to that? Let's have the flag of the Islamic State terrorists flying around. Why don't you? You people are always saying you're queers for Palestine. Those people would throw you off a fucking roof the moment you open your mouth.
They would
This is the
scalp
same.
you and cut off your balls.
These are the same group of brainless fucking idiots who don't recognize that they comprise less than 15% of the national populace. Yet they demand that they be inserted into every fucking thing. Look, if you think you can sell a product and sustain it on a multi-million or billion-dollar budget and sell it to 15% of the population, go ahead. Have a fucking field day. But I want to remind you idiots that not everybody plays video games. Not everybody has the expendable cash to go down to GameStop or Walmart or Target or Amazon and say, sure, I'll sprog down 10% of my monthly share of the rent because I sleep in a hovel of a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 other people because none of us can get a full-time fucking job because we're all too busy taking mental health days because we can't figure out what genitals we've got between our legs or who we want to fuck at the end of the day. Fuck you people. If you think that this is the kind of audience that will keep your product afloat and keep your company in the black, then I would welcome you to get your heads examined. You people want to talk about how the American Psychiatric Association needs to help people figure out who they are. Maybe you need to remember who the fuck you are. You are a corporation. Your whole point is to make a product that people will actually enjoy and continue to pay for. If we feel like we are not appreciated for our whatever, then we're going to close our fucking wallets and you will wither and die on the vine. Apathy is death. Worse than death. Because at least a corpse feeds the bugs and the birds. You people feed nothing.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, man. I mean, it was like with Call of Duty, I guess it was kind of expected for this type of thing to happen, but I am happy to say, like, we are seeing somewhat of a downfall of it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. At this point, I'm almost on the verge of being an accelerationist and saying, you know what? Fucking let it burn. Let it all burn. Let it fail.
Yeah.
Let it die. And look, I'm actually quoting one of the worst Star Wars characters ever created, Kylo fucking Ren, when I say that. Let it die. Let it die. Because,
as Horace Lupercal would say, let the galaxy burn.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know.
Because look, we can turn to mythology. We can turn to mythology here because when this industry burns down, what will rise from the ashes like a triumphant phoenix will be what should have been, will be those who have the desire to return to the glory of what this hobby was supposed to be. It was supposed to be an escape from the mundane day-to-day of our existence. It's supposed to be stories that make us think and engage us in conversation and perhaps try to view another world To take from it what lessons we may through interpretation, fine. But first and foremost, these games are supposed to be there to give us a release valve, an opportunity to say, I need something to take me away from my current real world circumstances, either because I just want some entertainment or I'm stressed out. I need something to turn my focus to. Now, look, I get that it can be detrimental to us to get lost in escapism. There is a danger there. I appreciate that that's a real problem, or can be. Look at how much time I spend reading, genre fiction particularly. Quite a lot of my free time is spent reading genre fiction books. It's a form of escapism and entertainment, but many of those books tend to spur on different
Fuck
philosophical
games,
musings.
that bunch of cucks.
They are. They
They
are,
really
Sam.
though.
But that's supposed to be the purpose of fiction, generally speaking, is to maybe inspire some deeper thinking, but for the most part, just to escape and have some fun.
That's what I enjoy about video games. It literally lets me unplug my brain and plug into what would be our matrix for the time being to get away from the
Right.
real world. It's our ignorance of bliss, or our blissful ignorance per se. But
Yeah. You get to step aside.
Yep.
And some of the concepts, especially in fantasy and sci-fi, they're deeply inspirational. They can cause us to consider, well, wait a minute, could we actually do that?
Especially if you were to immerse yourself into like a medieval or sci-fi or cyberpunk or, any sort of world for that matter.
Exactly. Look at Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, Gene Roddenberry, titans of science fiction fantasy, who came up with the concept of a video phone. Well, people took that idea and said, wait a minute, could we maybe eventually actually do that? What do we have right now? What are we doing right now? We're talking on computers connected through video and audio feeds that never would have been possible if someone hadn't dreamed up the idea in fiction first. It came to us in a dream, and it became a practicable, applicable reality because someone decided, I like that dream. I want to figure out how we can make it real. And it's beneficial to make it real. There are downsides, as there are with anything.
Yep.
Let's remember the eternal wisdom of oh God, why can't I think of his name? It's drive me crazy. But there are no solutions. There are only trade-offs. Thomas Sowell, that's who I was trying to think of. Thomas Sowell, wonderful philosopher and economic theorist as well. He put forth the idea that anything you develop will have benefits, but there will be a trade-off. Just be aware of that. Can you handle the trade-off, and can you mitigate it? Brilliant man. What was the point I was getting at here in this ramble? Sorry, I tend to do that. I get distracted and sidebar myself into oblivion. Point being, when you take real world socio-political conversations and topics and you forcefully crowbar them into our entertainment, for a lot of years, we kind of let it go like, there's not much we can do about this. We're just going to have to either not buy the product or suck it up and say, we'll take what we can get and try to kind of ignore this thing that's kind of annoying. That's no longer the case. We have, as customers, not consumers, customers, we have finally recognized, hey, wait a minute, these companies can't continue to exist if we don't buy their shit.
Yeah. I
It's gotten
mean,
bad in publishing too. I'll touch on that in a minute. Go ahead.
I mean, what I was gonna say about it, honestly, is just when it comes to all this stuff, like all the woke garbage that's being put in games, you know, sure, we can like ignore it or, go about the game and try to play it and not pay any mind or attention to certain details that, are obviously trying to make you rethink your thoughts on a matter. Like when it comes to woke, gender ideology, politics, any of that stuff. You can only do that so much until it's in your face, telling you what you're gonna do, or you know what I mean, like a character that is just in your face, like The Last of Us, for instance, when they had Abby introduced, and they whatever kills Joel with a golf club, and then you're forced to play as Abby after the fact. Can you still ignore it?
No, at that point you can't. That's what I mean. Like for a long time, we tried to just let it go.
Right.
And when I say we, I want to clarify. I mean folks like myself who, for the longest time, were trying to be tolerant and middle of the road. It's gotten to the point where the folks who have been traditionally, classically, historically tolerant and middle of the road, we're paying the price for it now. Tolerance is never enough for these people. They demand devotion and subjugation to their perspective.
Here's the thing, not everybody's like that when it comes to that quote unquote group or alphabet mafia or whatever you want to call it. There are people among them that actually think it's bullshit of what's going on. People that just want to live their lives as who they are and not have to worry about being judged because of all this garbage going on.
Right. And that's an unfortunate side effect. And part of the reason why I do sympathize with those folks a great deal, because
absolutely.
They're stuck
that's
on
what I
the
was trying to
sideline.
iterate, like right at the beginning, is like, we're not attacking people that are a part of that group. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We're not segregating it either. Like, it's just
right. They're sitting there going, guys, you're making all of us look bad.
Right. That's pretty much what I was trying to hammer home right at the beginning. Is like, I'm not saying everybody that is trans or non-binary or whatever. I mean, you do you. If you're cool, you're cool. I don't care. But
not every Irishman is Jacob McEwen, for God's sakes.
Right. But at the same time, it's like, look, we get, you're just trying to live your life, but then there's those that are like, well, you have to notice us, you have to acknowledge that we exist, and we do. But when it comes to formats like Call of Duty being based in 1991, you have a non-binary character. Why?
And like, I'm sure they existed, but they didn't fucking parade it around.
Well, here's my problem with that. Like you just said, is they didn't parade it around, but like, we're taking a past setting where the idea that wasn't even a thing. At least not as wide knowledge to everybody. Nobody would have knew what that was. Back then to now. If you had this in a future setting, I wouldn't care.
Right.
This
is where things like Starfield get away with it, but then again, Starfield was just kind of an
They
ass.
get away with it in a to a degree. I mean, I don't know. Like it's a mixed bag with that. Like personally, I don't think the whole pronoun thing was really there to be for what it is. It was there to invoke controversial topics.
Yeah.
Rage bait, essentially.
Rage bait and virtue signaling. It's like,
Yep.
hey, hello, fellow kids. We're here to say we're with you. Right here, buddy.
Yeah. And that's the problem is like when you're taking something like that should be neutral to everybody and playing a game,
Yeah.
that's where you really draw a line with your fan base.
It'd be like walking into downtown Philadelphia wearing a Dallas Cowboys jersey. You're gonna get beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone's gonna take a frozen D-cell battery out of their fridge freezer and go, and wing. Sorry, I know you're not
Yeah.
big into sports at all, but
I'm not.
Ricky, it's a perfect analogy.
But it's not even like it's like identity politics with the whole like game industry anymore. They don't care about the game anymore, about the lore that's built off of or what it could offer as a new future title. They care about what can be put into it and how much shit can be stirred with it.
Hey, how you doing, Lucian? Good to see you, brother.
Lucian?
Yeah. Feeling the welcoming warmth of Byronofsidius. I know, Lucian, you're used to hearing me being a little bit more pleasant when I am doing the break time story time presentations in the evenings when I'm at work. I know that had to be a little bit of a, ooh, what the hell? Sorry about that, brother. But no, this shit it's everywhere. And we've talked about many a time where it has infested television, like it did in Fallout, and in films, like the entirety of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
It's in publishing and has been creeping in since about the mid 90s. In the mid 90s,
here's my problem with it. They don't want to be offensive. They want, inclusion and all that. But what about, just standard white people like the comic that we went over the other day where Captain America is being called and referred to as you white people.
Yeah. We went off on quite a tangent on that one.
Yeah.
You see it with comic books, you see it in stage plays, you see it in traditional publishing, especially nowadays. Sensitivity readers have been a thing since about the mid 90s. These are people who go through and read manuscripts that are being considered for publication and point out where they think the author's story may come across some controversial areas and where they may be perceived as istophobic phobophobes in this reason, that reason, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But it has been cranked up to fucking 12. Just a few examples here that I've become aware of over the course of the last month. Penguin Putnam, one of the big 5 publishers in the realm of fiction publication, generally speaking, they are now implementing a DEI compliance clause in all future publication contracts. So if the author of any particular manuscript that is submitted by an agent to Penguin Putnam, if they do not adhere, if their story does not adhere to their DEI guidelines, they will not receive a publication offer. And in these contracts, if the author in question has a social media account and they say or post anything that is counter to DEI policies and prescriptions as laid out by Penguin Putnam, they can be penalized through their royalty recipients. So any royalties they may receive can be garnished based on the quote severity of the infraction. Stop sending your books to Penguin Putnam. If you are a literary agent and you give a tin shit about the actual merit of the work from the people you represent, stop sending the books to Penguin Putnam. Fuck them. They've been around for hundreds of years. Let them burn. Del Rey. Now, I've joked about Del Rey before. You may remember a couple of weeks ago, I was pointing out that they had received, they've done all the publication of the Dragon Age books and short story collections, and they actually turned away and rejected any novelization for the Veilguard. That Del Rey.
Oh boy.
Del Rey now has a new policy. They require any future works to receive a 100% passage mark rating from their in-house sensitivity readers prior to the publication of any work. Hello, Lily. Pretty kitty. Thank you for being ready. I needed the kitty. Oh, the purr kitty. The purring kitty. Again, Lucian, if you're still here, I'm sorry about flipping the bird and growling so much. I can't help it. But thank you for the kitty. I love that. Thank you for Lily. Oh, you sweet Toby. And then my last note here on the publishing realm.
Toe-beans.
Hachette. Toe-beans. Hachette Publishing House. Hachette has been around for a very long time. They're one of the big five. Used to be big six until Penguin bought out. I think it was Scholastic. Tongue in cheek. Yeah, it was bad timing, Lucian. Hachette Publishing has now begun to implement for their future publication contracts. They are going to require or mandate that authors utilize limited use of the X/Twitter platform. They demand, because Twitter/X is owned by Elon Musk, that authors restrict their future use of X to public or to promotion of their books published through Hachette. I would personally be really interested in finding out from Hachette, which is a publishing house, and publishing requires adherence to the freedom of expression and artistic voice. How are you going to promote artistic expression? Lily! And tell these artists that they can't express themselves. She's got a fluffy ass tail, man. Looks like a fox.
It's like a squirrel tail.
Yeah, she's a fluff nugget, man.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Whew. But there is hope. Hope
There's indeed
springs
hope.
eternal. Hope springs eternal, ladies and gentlemen, because we do have games coming down the pike. One particularly that I'm looking forward to getting my hands on. I got to get my computer squared up and cleaned up so that I can get on my Steam account, because I've actually set aside money. I am going to be purchasing and playing Metal Slug Tactics.
How did I know you were about to say that?
Fucking A, I am psyched for this. I have not been pumped for a new game release in years. I am getting that fucker. And I am going to play the ever-loving piss out of it.
Yeah, Metal Slug.
It's going to be great. Fucking A. Bring it up, brother. Let
so
people see the
good.
glory. It does. It looks amazing.
Here. November 5th is when it comes out.
Ha 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 ha. And guess what? I don't have to worry about distractions. I already voted.
Yeah, that's something I'm going to have to go do Monday.
Is that when early voting opens up there? And
from what I know, it's already like going on now.
Okay.
So,
because it's been open here in Minnesota for a couple of weeks already. So, like the second day that early voting was available, I went and I took care of it.
Yep, that's something I'm gonna go take care of Monday.
Yep, I did my part, and I have not talked to any of my family, like in-laws, about having voted. I haven't brought up any political conversations, and this is kind of dirty card on my part, dirty pool, and I'm going to explain. I am just hoping that they forget and they don't vote. It may seem kind of scummy of me, but they've been so disengaged and so disinterested that I genuinely suspect they're going to forget and they're not going to go vote.
My part.
I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I didn't do fucking shit.
I love that. I didn't do fucking shit. But yeah, I'm being kind of, I don't want to say duplicitous, but I'm not talking about politics in my house or around my father-in-law or mother-in-law or brother-in-law, who I don't talk to really these days anyway. Fuck him. John's a piece of shit. But I'm not mentioning it because it seems like they've all forgotten or they don't care enough to go to the polls. If none of them vote, they can't wash my vote out.
All right, here we go.
Leona.
Fucking A.
I can't wait.
Dude, it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be so
I didn't
good.
realize before that it is available for some consoles as well. I may actually get it for my Xbox just so I can play with the controller.
Do you have an Xbox Series S or X or whatever?
X. Well, wait a minute. I think it's the X because it still has a disk drive. Yeah, dude, Lucian, exactly. That is such iconic, so iconically.
It's like the best of both worlds.
Yes, you get that beautiful artistic middle ground. It's wonderful. it's stylistically, aesthetically, for me at least, it is peak, and I'm gonna love every minute of it.
The demo's out now.
Ooh, I should grab that. Give it a try.
As far as I know, the demo's out. Let me take a look here.
Get myself a little bit of preparation for the main release.
Yep.
And look, this is again one of those examples of I don't care about the story. I don't give a damn. It just looks like it's going to be an amazingly enjoyable gameplay loop. Like that's what it's all about for me with Metal Slug. I never gave a I don't even know what the story is in those games, man.
Yeah, I've seen it, Scuba. I knew
Uh-oh.
exactly what it was. You know what I really like about Metal Slug Tactics, though, from what I had seen, is the
What's that?
variation of the different enemies. They're not
Yeah, it
just
looks like they went
yeah.
they went through like not only the entire series, but it looks like they've got some brand new unique enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's pretty awesome.
I don't know if you noticed, but like some of them were holding spears, some of them were holding swords. There were soldiers with like camo ghillie netting. Like some of them even had like mortars. Some of them had the Gatling guns with the big backpack on them.
I wonder if they're just gonna like just say fuck it, we're gonna steal or take from all periods and eras of warfare and say Metal Slug bitches.
Well, no, I think
they
just had like because like I noticed there were like different colored soldiers too, like armor wise or uniform wise.
Maybe different factions.
Or it could be like a rank.
Oh yeah, could be.
Could signify like rank.
Yeah, might very well be. Either way, man, I'll find out. I'll find out.
I'll play the demo here probably sometime today or tomorrow. Because I haven't installed.
Excellent. Lucky bastard. Lucky bastard. I'm gonna go up in a short bit here on my Xbox and see if I can get the demo on there. If it's available
and
for me.
Lily's purring.
Purr. Yeah, I can hear the motor. Running. See, even Lily approves of Metal Slug Tactics. There and look, there's another example of SNK. Here is a company that understands their audience, that is going to give them a new twist. Not even a new twist. The turn-based strategy RPG genre has been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
But they're giving us something a little different from what they normally give us with this series.
I think it expands more than just the action side-scroller genre it's normally been.
Yeah, it's dipping its toes into
gives you better world perspective and
Yep. You get a different look at the realm of Metal Slug.
It's not so linear.
It's not the most innovative step because, hey, people will say, oh, another tile-based, turn-based strategy RPG. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's Metal Slug, motherfucker. So I'm gonna play it. Fuck off.
Not only that, I loved XCOM back in the day, so fight me.
Yeah, God, another one I wish I had played back in the day.
Yeah, XCOM did a DLC. It was like the Legacy pack, where it took the older like XCOM stuff and brought it into XCOM 2.
Oh, nice.
Hang on a second here.
Yeah, by all means.
This is always cool.
Hello, XCOM community. I am Jake Solomon, creative director of the XCOM series, and I am very excited to talk to you about our newly announced content drop, the Tactical Legacy Pack. We wanted to do something special for all the amazing fans who have supported the XCOM series so faithfully. So what is the Tactical Legacy Pack? The team and I, we looked back at the entire series, from the original game, XCOM UFO Defense, to XCOM Enemy Within, to find inspiration in creating new game modes, stories, maps, and equipment to remaster for XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. So this is our thank you to all of the fans, as well as the creators of UFO Defense, for starting something truly amazing. Now here's what you're going to be getting when the Tactical Legacy Pack launches on October 9th for PC. For starters, there are 3 new gameplay options you'll find in the Legacy Hub. There's a skirmish mode, an offline challenge mode, and the heart of our new content called the Legacy Ops.
I'm going.
As part of the Legacy Ops experience, you'll join Central Officer Bradford and the leaders of the Resistance as they rebuild XCOM in 4 new and original stories taking place between the events of Enemy Unknown and XCOM 2. Take on a series of back-to-back rapid-fire missions. There is no strategy layer or base management, just tons of tense tactical combat. For these missions, we created a ton of new maps, many of which are actually remastered fan-favorite locations from Enemy Unknown and Enemy Within. We also thought your soldiers should look the part, so we brought back the weapons and armor from those games as well. And of course, all the new maps, tech, and weapons will make their way into the War of the Chosen campaign, along with additional soldier and photo booth customizations. You also have the choice to play XCOM 2 using either the XCOM 2 soundtrack, the Enemy Unknown soundtrack, or an amazing new score inspired by the game that started it all. The music alone gives the game an entirely new feel. So that's just a high-level preview of what's included in the Tactical Legacy Pack coming to PC on October 9th. And the most exciting...
Yeah, when they announced that was so cool.
Dude, this looks like another set of games that I gotta try out, man.
Oh, XCOM, dude, yeah. Xenonauts is another one I gotta try out. It's just another turn-based tactical squad game. Humans against aliens, that type of thing.
Okay.
But as far as XCOM 2 on PC, top tier.
Yeah, but I don't have a good rig for computer gaming. I'm one of those console plebs. I am not a member of the PC gaming master race.
Here's a mod that I really liked that came out for it. It's called Armors of the Imperium, which is a Warhammer mod for XCOM 2. I gotta show this off.
Yeah,
really cool mod.
So you wanna start a war in the age of icons? So you wanna be immortal with a loaded gun? So you wanna start a war? So you wanna start a war? Bang, shots fired, pain.
Just wait for it.
Is what you desire. If the pen is mightier than the sword, then how do we get here, my God? My God. Say among liars, blame the deniers. If history is dead and gone, then how did we get here, my God? My God.
Shout out to those guys.
So you wanna start a war in the age of icons? So you So you wanna start a war? 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 In the age of icons. So you wanna be a warrior? With a loaded gun. So you wanna start a war? So you wanna start a war? So you wanna start a war? My God, my God, my God. If history is dead and gone, then how did we get here, my God?
Yeah.
Looks like they had to use a lot of different mods and assets there.
Yep. Yeah, definitely a cool mod. I've done a few playthroughs of that with I had the Black Templars for my for the chapter that I had that I was playing with. The Black Templars are one of my favorite chapters, next to the Blood Angels and the Carcharodons, which are Carcharodons are quote unquote space sharks. Yeah. And they fancy melee combat.
I enjoy when you've got those like melee specialists in like sci-fi settings.
Yeah, they have like shark-like genetics, so their skin's like pale white, and they have jagged teeth, but they're a loyalist faction to the Imperium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
So
kind of
they,
weird how that works, but
right,
because you
like
would think
if
the
they're
Imperium would be against like mutants of any kind, but they're loyalists.
right, that's gene splicing. How are they loyal to the Empire?
Well, you could say the same about the salamanders too. They have literally pure black charcoal skin and red eyes.
Mm.
Like
Yeah, that would
every chapter has its
really
weird
off.
genetic makeup. Like even the Blood Angels have the rage. I think they call it like the Black Rage, where they after a while lose their mind, and the rage
I
pretty
would
much
imagine.
like consumes them.
I would imagine anybody in the Warhammer 4K universe gets consumed by rage eventually after
The
enough.
World Eaters, especially considering their legion fell into the blood god of Khorne. That and their whole legion had butcher's nails installed into their brains, which are like this augmentation in their head that causes them to go mad.
I remember you telling me about that once.
Well, it derives from their Primarch, who had butcher's nails in his head because he was a gladiator fighter in his planet before the Emperor came back to get him. And he was not happy about that. His name's Angron. But he was
Yes.
pulled from his brothers and sisters and like
You
warped
show me
into a
some.
ship. After he
Show me
got done
some
telling
artwork
them,
of
I will die by your side, and they all winded up dying. So he had a very big resentment towards his legion. Because he went
All right,
from one
brother.
army of brothers and sisters to this army of space marines and like looking at him like, fuck you guys. I had real brothers and sisters by my side before the Emperor beamed me up. And I know I heard you, but I had
Yeah.
to
No, I
at least
thought
back that up.
I wanted a really quick show. It's there is no demo for my Xbox.
No.
It's not available yet for sale, but it's coming soon.
It's coming.
Yes. And it's optimized.
Yeah, the Emperor definitely
Xbox
botched the
Series.
recovery for sure. Lucian. Angron has a very sad story. And to be honest, I feel like he had the most right to rebel against the Emperor. If anybody. But his demise and downfall, becoming a demon prince, pretty sad. Because he basically made a deal with the devil. So became a big gnarly monster with wings, and yeah, as if he wasn't big already, but he became a lot bigger.
Pretty huge.
Yeah,
Oh,
Primarchs
brother.
are like 10 foot tall by themselves. They're basically the dad of the Space Marines that the genetics derive from.
Fucking giants.
Yeah. Saying he would never be a slave again while putting on a collar. Yeah, pretty much.
I have got to get going here so I can.
Yeah, same here. I'm gonna go take me a nap.
Boy,
I don't know if you noticed, I was yawning a few times, but I'm tired.
I did. I didn't want to say anything, but I know you work late, so.
Yep. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there. I think we got pretty much everything off our chests about Call of Duty, Black Ops, and Activision. Fuck Activision, by the way. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I will not be buying 6.
Reject modernity. Embrace good stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say is fuck Activision, do better. But we know they won't. So till then, guys, take it easy. And we'll see y'all later.
Cheers.
Peace out, everybody.